Let me tell you something real today. If you're waiting to feel like it before you change your life, you're going to be waiting a long time. Feelings are unpredictable. Some mornings they show up, some mornings they don't. But 2026 doesn't care about how you feel, it only responds to what you do. This year is calling for a higher level of responsibility, maturity, and self-leadership. It's time to stop letting your moods run your life and start letting your plan guide your steps. Because the people who win are not the ones who feel motivated every day, they're the ones who move anyway. Discipline is a decision you make long before motivation shows up. It is not something you wait to feel. It is something you choose to practice. Most people misunderstand discipline because they think it requires constant energy or excitement. In reality, discipline is quiet, intentional, and steady. It is the ability to say, I will do what needs to be done, even when your emotions suggest otherwise. Feelings come and go, but a decision stays in place. When you decide to be disciplined, you remove negotiation from your daily life. You stop asking yourself whether you feel like showing up and start acting because you already committed to the outcome. Every successful change in life begins with a decision, not a mood. Moods are temporary and often influenced by things outside your control, lack of sleep, stress, disappointment, or fear. If you let those moods dictate your actions, your progress will always be unstable. One good day can push you forward, but one bad day can pull you all the way back. Discipline, on the other hand, creates consistency. It gives you a standard to follow when emotions are unreliable. It becomes the internal authority that tells you what to do when your feelings are confused or tired. Discipline also builds self-respect. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your belief in your own word. When you consistently break promises because you do not feel like it, you slowly teach yourself that your commitments are optional. That weakens confidence. But when you act despite discomfort, you send a powerful message to yourself: you can be trusted. That trust becomes the foundation for confidence, focus, and long-term success. You stop doubting your ability to follow through because your actions have proven your reliability. It is important to understand that discipline does not eliminate struggle. You will still have days when the work feels heavy and the motivation is low. Discipline simply gives you a system to operate through those moments. It allows you to move forward without emotional permission. Over time, those repeated discipline actions turn into habits, and habits reduce resistance. What once felt difficult becomes routine, and what once required effort begins to feel natural. In 2026, discipline must be treated as a non-negotiable decision, not a reaction to inspiration. Waiting to feel ready delays growth. Waiting to feel motivated postpones progress, but deciding to act regardless of emotion puts you in control. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent. When you decide to lead your life instead of letting your feelings lead it, you stop drifting and start directing. That decision made once and honored daily is what separates those who talk about change from those who actually experience it. Most people allow their emotions to dictate the direction of their lives, and that is exactly why their results stay unstable. Moods rise and fall without warning. One day, you feel unstoppable, confident, and full of energy, and the next day you feel tired, doubtful, and unmotivated. If your progress depends on how you feel in the moment, then your progress will always be inconsistent. That is the danger of living by mood instead of by plan. A mood has no loyalty to your goals. It doesn't care about your future, your responsibilities, or your potential. It only responds to comfort, convenience, and immediate emotion. A plan, on the other hand, is rooted in intention. A plan is created when you are thinking clearly, calmly, and with your future in mind. It represents a decision you made in your strongest moments, not your weakest ones. When you follow a plan, you remove emotion from the equation. You already decided what needs to be done, so there is no debate when the moment arrives. You wake up and act, not because you feel like it, but because it's part of the path you committed to. That consistency is what produces real results. When people say they are waiting for motivation, what they're really saying is that they are waiting for their mood to cooperate. But moods are unreliable partners. They disappear when things get uncomfortable. They vanish when progress is slow. A plan doesn't disappear. A plan shows up even on hard days. It guides you through uncertainty, fatigue, and doubt. That's why people who succeed don't look more excited than everyone else. They look more consistent. Following your plan also builds mental strength. Every time you act in spite of your mood, you train your mind to lead instead of follow. You stop being controlled by temporary emotions and start being driven by long-term vision. That shift changes how you see yourself. You begin to realize that you are capable of discipline, capable of follow-through, and capable of growth even when conditions are not perfect. Results don't respond to how passionate you feel. They respond to how consistently you act. That's why planning beats mood every time. A mood might push you for a day, but a plan moves you forward for months and years. In 2026, if you want progress you can trust, you must anchor your actions to structure, not emotion. Let your feelings come and go, but let your plan stay in charge. Because when moods change, and they will, your plan will be the reason you keep moving forward anyway. Most people believe motivation is the key to success. But motivation is emotional, and emotions are inconsistent. One day you feel inspired, powerful, and ready to take on the world. The next day you feel tired, distracted, or discouraged. If your progress depends on how motivated you feel, your results will always be unstable. Consistency, on the other hand, does not depend on feelings. It depends on commitment. It's the quiet decision to show up every day, regardless of mood, energy level, or external circumstances. Consistency is powerful because it compounds. Small actions repeated daily may not feel impressive in the moment, but over time they create massive change. A person who works on their goals for one focused hour every day will outperform someone who waits for motivation and only works when they feel inspired. Motivation creates sparks. Consistency builds fire. Sparks burn out quickly, but fire grows stronger the longer it's fed. When you rely on motivation, you give control of your future to your emotions. Emotions are influenced by sleep, stress, opinions of others, and unexpected problems. Consistency removes that uncertainty. It creates a routine that carries you forward even when life feels heavy. On difficult days, consistency doesn't ask you to do everything perfectly, it only asks you to do something. And doing something is always better than doing nothing. Another truth is this: consistency builds identity. Every time you show up, even when it's hard, you reinforce the belief that you are dependable, disciplined, and capable. Over time, you stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who finishes. That shift in identity is where real transformation begins. You don't just achieve goals, you become the kind of person who achieves goals. Consistency also reduces fear and overwhelm. Big goals feel intimidating when you think about them all at once, but when you break them into small, repeatable actions, they become manageable. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, start creating progress through routine. Momentum builds quietly, and one day you look back and realize how far you've come. In the end, consistency wins because it's sustainable. Motivation fades, excitement passes, and emotions fluctuate, but habits remain. When you choose consistency, you remove drama from the process. You stop asking how you feel and start focusing on what needs to be done. That mindset is what separates dreamers from achievers. Consistency doesn't just beat motivation, it outlasts it, outworks it, and ultimately turns effort into results. Your future does not respond to what you intend to do, what you talk about, or what you feel inspired to start. Your future responds to what you consistently commit to today. Every action you take right now is either voting for the life you want or the life you're trying to escape. There is no neutral ground. Even when you think you're standing still, you're choosing a direction. And the truth is, the future always pays attention to commitment, not convenience. A lot of people want tomorrow to look better than today, but they refuse to change what they do today. They want new results while repeating old behaviors. That doesn't work. The future doesn't reward wishes, emotions, or excuses. It rewards discipline. It rewards repetition. It rewards the person who shows up even when nobody is clapping, even when results are invisible, even when motivation has packed its bags and left. Commitment means you decide in advance who you are going to be, regardless of how you feel. It means you don't renegotiate your goals every time life gets uncomfortable, because life will test you. There will be days when your effort feels pointless. There will be moments when quitting feels logical. But commitment is what keeps you moving when logic and emotion try to pull you backward. Understand this clearly. Your future self is watching what you do today. That person you hope to become is either being built or betrayed by your current habits. Every time you skip the work, break the promise you made to yourself, or delay what you know you should do, your future pays the price. And every time you honor your commitment, even in small ways, your future gains strength. People often think commitment has to be loud or dramatic. It doesn't. Most of the time, it's quiet. It's waking up when you don't feel like it. It's sticking to the plan when no one is checking on you. It's doing the boring, repetitive work that doesn't feel exciting but produces extraordinary results over time. Your future doesn't need perfection from you. It needs consistency. It needs effort repeated long enough to compound. And that only happens when you commit, not when you wait for motivation to strike. Motivation comes and goes, but commitment stays. Commitment is what turns potential into progress. So if you truly want a better future in 2026, stop asking how you feel and start honoring what you decided. Make your commitments sacred. Protect them from excuses, moods, and distractions. Because one day, you're going to wake up living in the results of what you committed to or what you avoided. And the future will never forget which one you chose. Emotional control is one of the most underestimated skills when it comes to building a successful and meaningful life. Many people believe success is about talent, intelligence, or luck. But the truth is that the ability to manage your emotions often matters more than any of those things. Your emotions are powerful, but they are not meant to be in charge. When emotions lead, decisions become inconsistent, reactions become impulsive, and progress becomes unstable. In 2026, learning to control your emotions is not about suppressing how you feel. It's about understanding your feelings without letting them dictate your actions. Every day, emotions show up uninvited. You may feel tired, frustrated, unmotivated, or overwhelmed. None of those feelings are wrong. They are part of being human. The problem starts when you allow those feelings to decide whether you show up for your responsibilities. Emotional control means you acknowledge the feeling, but you don't hand it the steering wheel. You can say, I feel tired, and still get up. You can say, I feel discouraged, and still take the next step. This is where growth begins, when action is no longer dependent on emotion. People who master emotional control understand that feelings are temporary, but consequences are permanent. Skipping work, quitting early, or abandoning a plan because of a mood might feel good in the moment, but it creates regret later. On the other hand, pushing through discomfort builds strength, confidence, and self-respect. Each time you act in spite of how you feel, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your emotions. That proof compounds over time and becomes discipline. Emotional control also protects your focus. When emotions run unchecked, they distract you, drain your energy, and pull you off course. Anger wastes time. Fear creates hesitation. Self-doubt delays action. Learning to regulate these emotions allows you to stay centered on your plan. It doesn't mean you never feel these emotions again. It means you don't let them derail your progress. You learn to pause, breathe, and respond with intention instead of reacting on impulse. In 2026, emotional maturity will separate those who move forward from those who stay stuck. Life will still apply pressure. People will still disappoint you. Results will sometimes come slower than expected. Emotional control allows you to remain steady in unstable moments. It teaches you how to keep working when motivation fades and how to stay calm when things don't go your way. When you develop emotional control, you stop being a prisoner to how you feel and start becoming a leader of your own life. You move with purpose, not impulse. You follow your plan even when your emotions protest. And over time, this skill becomes a quiet superpower, one that shapes your habits, strengthens your discipline, and ultimately determines the level of success you reach. Small planned actions are powerful because they remove pressure and replace it with progress. Most people believe change only happens through big, dramatic moves. But in reality, life shifts through quiet, consistent decisions made every single day. When your actions are planned, you don't waste energy deciding what to do next. You already know the step. And that clarity creates momentum. Momentum is what carries you forward when motivation fades, when emotions fluctuate, and when life starts testing your commitment. Every small action may feel insignificant in the moment, but significance is built through repetition. One early morning doesn't change your life. One workout doesn't transform your body. One focused hour doesn't immediately rewrite your future. But when those actions are planned and repeated, they begin to stack. Each small win builds confidence, and confidence fuels consistency. Before you realize it, you're no longer forcing yourself. You're moving naturally because momentum has taken over. Planned actions also protect you from emotional decision-making. When you rely on your mood, you act inconsistently. Some days you give your best, other days you give nothing. But when you follow a plan, the decision has already been made. You don't debate whether to show up, you just show up. That removes resistance, and resistance is what slows most people down. Momentum grows when resistance is low and movement is steady. Another reason small actions are unstoppable is because they are sustainable. Big goals can feel overwhelming, and overwhelm leads to procrastination. But small steps feel manageable. They don't scare your mind. They don't demand perfection. They simply ask for participation. And participation, repeated daily, builds discipline without burnout. Over time, what once felt small becomes strong, automatic, and deeply rooted in your identity. Momentum doesn't arrive suddenly, it is earned. It begins the moment you keep a promise to yourself. Then you keep another and another. Each fulfilled commitment strengthens your self-trust. When you trust yourself, quitting becomes harder. Not because life gets easier, but because you've proven to yourself that you don't stop when things get uncomfortable. That inner belief is what separates people who stay consistent from those who constantly restart. Eventually, those small planned actions compound. What used to require effort starts to require less thought. Habits replace hesitation. Structure replaces struggle. And one day you look back and realize the momentum you once chased is now carrying you forward. Not because you felt inspired every day, but because you respected the plan enough to move even when inspiration was absent. That is how small planned actions turn into unstoppable momentum. Comfort is one of the most subtle obstacles to growth because it rarely feels dangerous. It feels safe, familiar, and deserved. Comfort whispers instead of shouts. It doesn't tell you to quit outright, it simply encourages you to delay. It tells you there's no rush, that tomorrow will be a better day, that rest is more important than effort right now. Over time, those quiet suggestions add up. And before you realize it, weeks, months, even years have passed with very little progress. Comfort doesn't destroy dreams loudly, it slowly puts them to sleep. When you choose comfort over your plan, you are often choosing short-term relief at the cost of long-term fulfillment. Comfort prioritizes how you feel in the moment, while purpose focuses on who you are becoming. Growth almost always feels uncomfortable because it requires change, effort, and uncertainty. That discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong, it is evidence that something is working. Every time you stretch beyond what is familiar, you create space for improvement. Comfort on the other hand, keeps you repeating the same routines, producing the same results, and wondering why nothing changes. Many people confuse comfort with peace, but they are not the same. Peace comes from alignment, knowing you are doing what you were created to do. Comfort comes from avoidance, stepping away from challenge to protect your emotions. You can be comfortable and still deeply dissatisfied. You can be comfortable and still feel unfulfilled. Purpose, however, may demand sacrifice, discipline, and consistency, but it rewards you with meaning, confidence, and progress. Comfort delays purpose by convincing you that preparation is more important than action. You keep planning, thinking, and waiting for the perfect moment, when in reality, the perfect moment is created by movement. Purpose is activated when you take responsibility for your actions, regardless of how you feel. The moment you act in spite of discomfort, you weaken comfort's control over your life. Each discipline step makes the next one easier. If you want to grow in 2026, you must learn to become comfortable being uncomfortable. That means following your plan even when it challenges your habits, disrupts your routines, and tests your patience. It means understanding that ease is not the goal, progress is. Comfort will always be available, but purpose requires intentional effort. When you consistently choose your plan over your desire for ease, you begin to build a life that is not just comfortable, but meaningful, impactful, and aligned with your highest potential. Most people think motivation is the missing piece, but the truth is structure is what actually changes lives. Dreams are powerful, but without structure, they stay stuck in your imagination. You can want more, pray for more, and visualize more, but if you don't have a system to support that desire, nothing moves. Structure is what gives your dreams somewhere to land. It turns ideas into actions and actions into habits. When your life has structure, you're no longer guessing what to do next. You already decided in advance. Structure removes emotional decision-making. When you know exactly what your day requires, you don't waste energy negotiating with yourself. You wake up, you execute, and you move forward. That's why structure is so powerful. It protects your goals from your moods. On days you feel inspired, structure keeps you grounded. On days you feel tired or discouraged, structure keeps you moving. It becomes the silent guide that carries you through inconsistency. A bridge exists for one reason: to help you cross from where you are to where you want to be. Dreams live on one side, reality on the other. Structure is that bridge. Without it, people stand on the edge of potential for years, staring at what they could become but never crossing over. With structure, progress becomes inevitable. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Structure also builds confidence. Every time you follow a plan, no matter how small the action, you reinforce the belief that you can rely on yourself. That self-trust is priceless. It changes how you speak, how you move, and how you approach challenges. You stop waiting for permission, and you stop doubting your ability to finish what you start. Structure teaches you that success is not a personality trait, it's a practice. When life gets chaotic, structure becomes your anchor. It gives you stability when emotions fluctuate and circumstances shift. Instead of reacting to everything around you, you respond with intention. That's maturity, that's growth, and that's how real transformation happens. In 2026, don't underestimate the power of having a routine, a schedule, and a plan. Structure doesn't limit you, it frees you. It frees your mind from stress, your energy from waste, and your future from uncertainty. When you build structure, you build momentum. And once momentum starts, it becomes easier to keep going than to stop. That's how dreams stop being wishes and start becoming reality.